Joining us now is Ojinika Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinex.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. A late start today. Good morning, Rufai. Let's just get right into it. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, former President Donald Trump lost his immunity shield after the Department of Justice on Tuesday said that he can be held liable for disparaging comments he made about writer E. Jean Carroll, who accused him of rape. Trump's lawyers had previously argued that he was legally immune as he was president when he made the remarks to the writer in 2019. In May, Trump was ordered to pay the writer $5 million after being found liable for sexual abuse. In Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday ordered security agencies to fish out the perpetrators of the recent killings in Plateau State. On Saturday, July 9th, gunmen killed 9 persons and razed 6 houses in Sabongari community located in Mangu local government area of the state. The president also charged the government of Plateau and Benue states and emergency response agencies to provide support and immediate relief to victims who have been displaced as a result of the conflicts. In Uganda, Anakoli Kirigwanjo, founder and CEO of Yunga, a local digital security network that enhances neighbor-to-neighbor safety, was awarded the Africa Prize for Engineering Innovation, dedicated to developing African innovators. The award, founded by the Royal Academy of Engineering in the United Kingdom, is granted after participants go through an 8-month period of training and mentoring. Anatoly said he developed the security network, which connects neighbors to police within a 20 kilometers radius through a device after losing $1,300 worth of assets in a break-in. The young engineer said the network has prevented over 180 cases of community crime. He plans to expand to additional African markets like Ghana, Kenya, and Nigeria. Under sports, UFC middleweight champion Wale Adeniyi on Tuesday shared photos of himself training alongside billionaire and Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg and UFC featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. The photos come after Zuckerberg and his rival Elon Musk have mooted the possibility of a fight, even as their social media platforms clash for supremacy. The 33-year-old Nigerian-born fighter posted the photos on Twitter with the caption, "No fugazi with Mark. This is serious business." Finally, double Olympic champion Caster Semenya won a human rights court appeal case over the rules governing testosterone in female athletes in competition on Tuesday. The European Court of Human Rights ruled that the South African 800 meters gold medalist had been discriminated against. The 32-year-old South African, who has a medical condition known as hyperandrogenism, which is characterized by higher than usual levels of testosterone, had been barred from running in the 800 meters women's events by the testosterone rules. World Athletics, in reacting to the news, said it stood by its rules, which would remain in place for the time being. I guess it's a win for Caster Semenya. I will just urge the World Athletics to do right by her this time. Well, let's begin what's trending. The House of Representatives on Tuesday asked the federal government to lift the ban imposed by former President Mohammadu Buhari on the supply of petroleum products to stations within 20 kilometers of the country's land borders. The lawmakers passed the resolution during plenary session following the adoption of a motion presented by Adegboyega Isiaka from Ogun State. While moving the motion, Isiaka argued that the ban should be lifted because petrol subsidy has been removed, adding that the continued enforcement of the ban is causing hardship to millions of Nigerians living and conducting businesses within the affected areas. In the meantime, the Acting Comptroller-General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Wale Adeniyi, on Tuesday acknowledged that despite the removal of petrol subsidy, full smuggling through the land borders still persists, and that complete eradication of full smuggling may take some time. While speaking to the State House correspondents after a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja, Adeniyi also clarified that not all Nigerian borders that were closed by the Buhari administration have been reopened, adding that while selected strategic borders were reopened in 2022, several remain closed pending review.
If you remember that the borders were completely shut down 2018 up until 2021-22, when some selected strategic borders were reopened. That is still the situation as we speak. And this was why we had an ad hoc arrangement of a special unit coordinated by the Office of the NSA to enforce that border closure. But as we speak, about 5 of them have been reopened. 4 were initially reopened, and 2 more were opened after that, and that is still the situation. There are ongoing processes to review this situation against the objective of the border closure itself. In some border areas, we had reports of seizures of fuel, and that is what we had. We have seen that they are still smuggling it across the borders. The rates at which this is being smuggled has reduced considerably.
Well, we are seeing that despite the subsidy removal, false smuggling persists in land borders, as the Comptroller General has said, and that was one of the measures that, President Mohammadu Buhari had put in place. Well, in another development, former presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina has reacted to Bishop Matthew Hassan Kukah's comments during the 60th anniversary celebration of Afe Babala's call to bar in Ekiti State, which he stated that Nigeria witnessed the ugliest face of corruption during the Buhari administration. Bishop Kukah had also accused Buhari of developing just his hometown of Daura in Katsina State, insisting that Katsina enjoyed development over time, owing to the fact that it is the hometown of the former head of state, which does not speak well of democracy. While reacting to Kukah's comments in a post on Twitter, Femi Adesina stated that the bishop was simply pained. He wrote, "Who listens to that bishop again? He's still pained that he got no under the CASA patronage from Buhari, unlike in the past. As he they pain them, he they sweet us." Well, let's take a listen to Bishop Kukah before we come back for a discussion.
We have seen the worst face of corruption in Nigeria. Femi Falana, my friend here, will speak about that because he's published a series of articles, talking about what happened under the Buhari administration. They were not the ones who caused corruption, but I think in the last administration we saw the ugliest face of corruption in many, whether in moral terms, financial terms, or other terms. And I'll mention that before I close. The sad story, let me put it that way. The very fact that Daura has had the opportunities that it has never had since its existence. And that even Katsina, that is next door, has not seen the development that has taken place in Daura. Nothing personal, but just to say that we cannot run a skewed country, a country with such skewed opportunities and privileges, and pretend that we're in a democracy.
All right, Rafai, that Bishop Kukah has been a stern critic of the Buhari administration and the president himself as well.
Quickly, everything Bishop Kukah said was correct. There was accelerated development in Daura because of President Buhari. A lot was taken there, and a lot of people kicked against it when it happened. And for Mr. Femi Adesina that says, do people still listen to Bishop Kukah? Hell yeah.
Of course.
Kukah has been a voice in this country for over 30 years, and his voice is louder than Mr. Femi Adesina's voice, obviously. Let's not deceive ourselves. And what he said is right. And please, when people give feedback, let's stop criticizing them and say they're not getting castle privileges. Where was Mr. Femi Adesina when Bishop Kukah's church was attacked in Kaduna during the Debra crisis? All right? When all are the things he had gone through? Where was he when Bishop Kukah had to sit on that Oputa panel for reconciliation of this country? Where was he then? Let's call a spade a spade. When people criticize government, you take the meat of the criticism and move on from it. But anyway, Mr. Femi Adesina is doing his work. As regards the National Assembly members, real quickly, yes. And GNI, Isiaka, GNI, as it's fondly called, being an Isiaka, we'll definitely talk about that because he represents a House of Rep zone from a border area, which is Yewa. And a lot of people have been inundated with that crisis since there was a ban on taking petrol products to filling stations around the border. But now that we've removed subsidy, I support that motion that it should be cleared out. But you see, the smuggling will continue. You know why the smuggling will continue? Because the big men that do the smuggling have not been apprehended. It's the big men. Oji, you and I will not have the money to be able to drive 4, 5, 7 tankers over 33,000 liters across the border and sorting out customs and the likes. So customs, too, should shun corruption within and be able to clamp down on these people that smuggle a petroleum resource. And it will continue. Why? Because the arbitrage is there. Despite the fact that we are selling over 500 locally, when you still go to other African countries like Niger and the likes, it still weighs 600, 700. I think I was in Abidjan the other day, and I think petrol goes for between 650 to 850 CFR. And that is per liter, and that is even more than how much it is sold in Nigeria because the CFR is more than the Naira today. So as long as you still have those arbitrage, you're still going to have those differences, and it's still going to be problematic across the border. So that's that about it. Customs should shun corruption within, and the new controller should do a lot for them.
All right, Dr. Abati.
Okay. Well, the proposal, which had been endorsed by the House of Representatives from Honorable Adegboyega Isiaka, representing Egbado North Imekwafon Federal Constituency, is in order. But he should not end with his own constituency. He is from Imekwafon, which falls within, the radius of 20 kilometers to the border. There are other places that are affected too, people living around Badagry, and also in the northern part of the country. Now, in 2019, when the president said, don't take fuel to within 20 kilometers to the border, this was because of, the smuggling that was very rife at that particular time. But now that fuel subsidy has been removed, it is only fair, and it is in order that the House of Reps is now recommending that, look, take fuel to those places because the owners of those fuel stations, they are doing businesses. The people who are buying fuel in those places, they are Nigerians. There is nothing in the fuel subsidy regime that says that some Nigerians should be excluded from what other Nigerians will benefit. However, the counterpoint is the point made by Wale Adeniyi, the Acting Comptroller-General of Customs, that there is still fuel smuggling.
Yes.
But that they're going to put a system in place to continue to check that, and that nobody should expect that fuel smuggling will end overnight, that it will still be there. But what he has observed is that there has been a very serious reduction in the scope of fuel smuggling across the border. And well, that's understandable, but that review that they need to do should take along this recommendation from the House of Reps so that nobody feels left out of Nigeria. And it is very curious because, again, part of that review, they need to monitor the waterways. Because some people, we understand, go to Badagry, take fuel from Nigeria and cross in boats to neighboring West African countries, even now that fuel subsidy has been removed from Nigeria. And despite the fact that in as far away as Cameroon, some motorcyclists were carrying placards saying that President Tinubu should not have removed the fuel subsidy in a year. Imagine how serious the dilemma is. Nigeria introduces a policy, people are carrying placards in Cameroon.
Yes,
But we hope that, of course, all the other associated issues in terms of, the interests of all citizens involved will be addressed. As for Femi Adesina, he says, who listens to that bishop again? Well, people are still listening to Bishop Kukah. Every Sunday, every morning, people troop to his church to listen to him. He's head of a whole diocese. If people are not listening to him again, why did they invite him to come and speak at
we have the picture.
At the 60th anniversary of Chief Afe Babalola's
They even invited him to the Aso Rock Villa before Buhari left.
Well, I bet Femi Adesina, he and Bishop Kukah. They will make up.
Absolutely,
They will make up. After all, the job has ended. Each one has moved on to something else. But Bishop Kukah will still be there, you know, whether anyone likes it or not. And we must all tell ourselves, the assessment of the Buhari administration, as is the case with other administrations, will continue. Nobody can dictate the perspective, you know, and everybody should have their say. After all, he was president of all Nigeria, not president of Asurok. He was president of all of us, including Bishop Kukah, and who has a right under the Constitution to express his views.
Well said, Dr. Bati. We'll take another story. The governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, has offered a scholarship to the highest scorer in the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations, Nkechinyere Ume. The gesture followed the recent JAMB declaration of Ume, who hails from Anambra State, as the highest scorer with a cumulative mark of 360 in the examination. Soludo's chief press secretary said the governor has congratulated the candidate for making the state proud with her exceptional performance, and that the scholarship is to enable her study any course of her choice at the Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu University in Anambra State. Congratulations to Ms. Ume. Well, in the meantime, we would like to highlight two young men who are breaking the disability barrier. One is a young student by the name Kamal Usman, a physically challenged boy who has lost the use of his limbs but has found a way to write with his mouth. Usman is a junior secondary school student from STDSS Kagara. Here's Usman displaying his gift.
This is Kamal Usman, who is a handicap, but naturally he wants to be an elite. He wants to be educated, despite he's been a villager, but he happens to come down to the town and be part of the student. He's using his mouth in order to write. He writes better than those that are even using their hands. That is nature. So please, we need government intervention, either local government, state government, and federal government, if they can be able to afford and help this very young man here, for him to secure something for him, a home and his educational background too.
And then we have Murtala Shuaibu, a 55-year-old mechanic who has been blind for over 28 years. He has been repairing cars for over 30 years, despite his disability.
It's a mechanic that is fixing my car. Please, I want you to hear his story.
My name is Murtala Shuaibu. I've been doing this for over 38 years now. Yes. And I'm a blind man for good 28 years.
Yeah. Were you born blind or you were seeing before?
I was not born blind, sir. I was seeing before.
You changed my tie rod. How do you get to know which one? How do you even tied everything? How?
Anything that my hand touch, if it is good, I will tell you it is good. If you hear the noise of car, any problem that you have, I will tell you. Any spanner that I pick, when I use my hand hold the spanner, I will know the number of the spanner.
This is wonderful. What other cars do you do?
I do Toyota, Honda, on Japanese cars.
How amazing is this, Rufai? I did see that young Usman's video on your Facebook account that you said to me.
Yes.
Isn't this amazing to see this all the time?
This is amazing. And just to follow up on that story, I've finally also been able to investigate further. I've also put a number on my Facebook now in case people want to call to help the young Usman. I've put a number out there they can contact. Just call that number to be able to help him. I think let's bring out stories like this and help people like this. And also the mechanic, if we can get a contact, help people like that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, simple. There is ability in disability.
Yes, absolutely.
This is what we have seen. People who are physically handicapped, they are not useless in society. What remains is for government to do a lot more for them and to focus on them. As for the genius from Deeper Life High School, well, it's good. Governor Soludo is giving scholarship, but he should not tie that scholarship to Ojukwu University. It should be any university of her choice, because she says she wants to go to University of Lagos.
Oh, well,
thank you very
right.
much, Ojineka.
I'd like to thank you both, as always, for your contribution on What's Trending Today. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending Today. I'll see you all tomorrow.